Should I throw out this ruined paint tray with dried paint in it? Honestly, probably. But heck no, I'm not going to. I'm going to make it into art or something. It just looked too cool to toss out in the garbage with all the other junk. So what's the first thing that I add to everything? If you said octopus, you'd be right, because I octopusify everything. Okay, most things. A lot of things I octopusify, not everything. You know, now that I'm saying that, I might need to see a therapist. But we're going to suppress that feeling because I don't want to think about it. Anyways, look at this little octopus inside of its little square home. Is it not freaking adorable? It's freaking adorable. And if you don't find it adorable, you need to click off this video right now. Okay, so now that we've gotten rid of all of the octopus haters in the room, let's move on with this art. So as you know, octopuses like to collect things, and I wanted something for our octopus to collect, so I'm adding all these really pretty rocks behind him. And then I wanted to give him a little beach. So I used my jar of beach and added it to the hole next to him. So it was at this point that I really had no plan for the rest of the holes. I didn't know if I was going to carry this beach theme throughout the whole thing or if I was going to do something else. And so I got to thinking, everything is better with a theme, and I don't want to do like a all ocean theme. That would be boring. And I'd definitely run out of ocean things to do. I mean, what is there other than an octopus? And then I was thinking, well, what if it's not an octopus? What if it's a kraken? And what if I fill every single one of these holes with, wait for it, drum roll please, monsters? Heck yeah, that's what I'm doing. So in the hole next to the kraken, not an octopus, I'm doing Nessie. What? Look, I couldn't think of any other beach monster. And look, I know these first two holes look kind of lame, but don't leave because of that, because I promise it's gonna get better, probably. Maybe, most likely, because now we're working on this black hole. But it's not a black hole. It's just a hole that happens to be black. Anyways, now that I know what the theme is going to be, you know, monster holes, I can really run with that idea and make it better. And so I was thinking, what's a really classic monster? And also something that's really hard to screw up. I'll give you a hint. It says boo. It's a ghost. Okay, though, I don't know why I said it like that. But you know what? I'm leaving it in because I'm trying to make my videos longer. I know you all have been asking for longer videos, and here it is. And so things are going to get sacrificed. Sacrificed like this ghost was when he was alive. Remember when we were talking about sacrificing things? It might be the jokes, but you know what? You just laugh and you move on, okay? Right? We laugh and then we move on. We laugh and then we move on. Why am I not hearing the laughing? You guys are messing up your part. Come on, pull your weight here. All right, let's just move on. So the next hole, I was thinking, what's everybody's favorite monster? Oh, right, I forgot. It glows in the dark. The ghost glows in the dark and it's freaking cool, okay? Anyways, back to this hole. What's everybody's favorite monster? Say it with me. Mothman. Yeah. So Mothman needs a bright light to be attracted to, so I'm painting the back of this paint hole with glow-in-the-dark paint to make it look like a bright light. Why do I suddenly sound like a robot? It doesn't matter, we're moving on. So I sculpted little Mothman's body out of wire, and now I'm just gonna attach clay to it. And for whatever reason, whenever I look up Mothman's always packing. And I mean his muscles. He's always got like way big muscles. What's that about? And he's always got like a bootylicious butt. I honestly don't know anything about Mothman, you know, other than he's a moth and a man. But I guess he would need a lot of muscles to carry himself with those wings. Speaking of wings, our Mothman still needs wings. So I think I found some right here in my container labeled freaking bats. That's right, I have a container labeled freaking bats, and guess what's in it? Freaking bats are in it. Whoa, no way. Now I know that they're not moth wings, but we're gonna look past that. I know he's looking more gargoyle than Mothman, but once I add the red eyes and the moth feathers. Wait a second, moths don't have feathers. Okay, so you remember how I said that these two holes were gonna be way better than my last two holes? I may have lied, but the next two is where it's at, I promise. Stay tuned. Are you still tuned? Because these are my redemption holes right here. Look, I'm making one hole out of these two holes. It's very cool. In fact, you're going to get a 3-for-1. 3 holes for the price of 1 video. I don't know where I'm going with that. Anyways, in the back of this hole, I'm painting a nice little beech tree forest. Beech tree? No, birch tree. What's a beech tree forest? Anyways, can you guess what lives in a birch tree forest? I mean, besides birch trees. Well, what happens when you breed a bunny with an antelope? Is that how they get the word jackalope? I always thought it was like a deer. What's the difference between a deer and an antelope? Are they the same? I mean, I bet technically they're not the same, but I bet they're pretty close. Like they're in the same family, right? Anyways, I know it looks like the Jersey Devil, but does the Jersey Devil have this cute little tail on its butt? No. Wait, does it? Actually, let's look it up. Jersey Devil. Okay, the Jersey Devil does not look like what I thought it looked like. Wait a second. Isn't Taz the Jersey Devil? Hold on, one more second. I gotta look that up. Yeah, see, Taz has a cute tail. Oh, he's a Tasmanian devil. I guess they're different. Anyways, the long drawn out point that I was making is that the jackalope has a cute tail. And it can't be a true jackalope without its horns? No, that's not right. Antlers. It has antlers. The only problem here is I wasn't sure, do antlers go in front of the ears or behind the ears? I went with in front of the ears, but I'm not sure that's anatomically correct. Also, I know you're saying to yourself, Ashley, a jackalope's not a monster. And you know what? I would like to challenge you. What is your definition of a monster? Do they have to be scary? I feel like that's monsterism. And furthermore, a jackalope is scary. I mean, look at their horn level. It's right at crotch level. I mean, sure, they're adorable. Adorable little crotch destroyers. Also, just because they're adorable does not mean that they're not monsters, because you know who else is adorable? Mothman. And nobody says that Mothman's not a monster. So point proven. Jackalopes are indeed monsters. And for my next hole, and probably my most terrifying hole, we're gonna do the most deadliest monster there is. But first we have to make its environment so it feels at home in its hole. And what is its environment? Oh, you know, just a normal garden. And don't you hate it when your glue gets a little too excited? But it's okay, we're gonna use it to our benefit. Because I'm gonna make garden trees. Is that what these are called? Like the shaped trees that people have to like trim? I don't know, but you might be wondering, if you haven't guessed already, what kind of terrifying monster lives in a garden? A garden gnome. No way. Just say gnome to gnomes. Because I don't know if you know this, but secretly gnomes rule the world. Yeah, remember the movie Gnome Alone? Pretty sure that's a documentary. They just try to look cute. They're infiltrating our children because remember David and the gnomes? And their little gnome kisses? Anyways. Hey, if you're still watching, I get it. You like to watch me fill my holes. That's not weird. But maybe it's weird that you're not pressing that like button or subscribing. I mean, it's cool. I can wait. Yep, we're just waiting on you. Okay, now that I'm sure you subscribed, let's move on to one of my favorite monsters. Even though I don't know a lot about it, but a lot of my creations apparently look like this monster. At least those are the comments that I get a lot, but I'm sure you've already guessed. It's a mimic. And no, I don't play D&D, although I would love to play D&D. I just haven't yet. Anyways, so I made a treasure chest with teeth. Next, I get my trout pouch out. Speaking of which, what are you all keeping in your trout pouches? I was gonna store my pocket gummy worms in mine, but they just aren't as good when they're not warmed up by my body heat. So now I'm making a really gross, disgusting tongue for my mimic. And this is when it all starts to come together. When you paint the teeth, it like gives it more life. I guess that's the term. But the one thing that our mimic is missing is a teeny tiny lock. Look at that little lovely lock. Let's link our lovely lock to our luggage. Okay, I know it's not really luggage. I was trying to come up with L word. I was doing something there. Anyways. Look at that. We have one mimic that I added to our holes. Next, let's work on the hole right next to it because it seems like that's the theme. I do the hole next to the hole that I've done. I don't know why. I didn't mean to. It's not exactly planned that way. It just seems to work out that way. Anyways, I'm adding glow powder. Did you see that glow? Now what on earth, or should I say not on earth, would I use glow powder for? That's right, we're doing aliens, which I guess we're finding out they are on Earth and in the ocean, but would that be an alien then? I guess we should be calling them ocean natives or native oceaners. Although if I had to bet money on it, I would bet we don't learn from the past. And we're going to do exactly what Christopher Columbus did when he came over to America and he called everybody Indians because he thought he was in India. And nobody thought to correct it like hundreds of years later. Well, I see the same thing happening with these native oceaners. They're going to be stuck with the name alien. Anyways, back to the art. What goes together with aliens like ham on toast or cats and keyboards? No, wait, unicorns and glitter farts. That's right, cows. Cows are the glitter farts of the UFOs. Because they're always sucking up our cows for some reason and bringing them to the ocean. You know what? I bet it's really hard to breed cows in the ocean. That's probably why they're sucking up our cows. Makes sense to me. I guess aliens just have a taste for beef or milk. And shark milk just wasn't doing it for them, I guess. And so I made them the juiciest looking cow around. It just needs a tail. Look at it. Look at its cute little tail and ears and stuff. There it goes, getting sucked up into that UFO. I think this is my favorite hole so far. And look at that, it glows in the dark. What? So I've come up with a few names for this project. Let me just test them out on you. Okay, ready? Monster Hole Tell. Get it? Because it's holes. Okay. If I have to explain the joke, it's not funny anymore. Come on. Or we could go simple. Ashley's monster holes. Or would it be monstrous holes? I don't know. Anyways, back to the video. What monster are we going to do next? Well, obviously it lives in the forest. See my tree? It's a forest tree. Ready? Shwabam. That's right. We're making a tent and shwapa. It's a teeny tiny tent made out of toothpicks and fabric and string. Is it a tent monster? No, that's probably not a thing. Hold on. Let me look. Nope, see, not a thing. Wait a second, what is that? Well, now that that's seared into my eyeballs, let's move on. So what monster am I doing? Well, you could say that this monster has a very big body part. Whoa, hold on, I gotta handle my trout pouch again. Sometimes you just gotta whack it around. All right, we good? We good, buddy? Okay. Anyways, does he have big hands? No, he's not called Big Hand, he's called Bigfoot because he's got big feet. Wait, wouldn't he be called Big Feet then and not Bigfoot? Does he only have one big foot? I mean, that's got to make it hard to walk. Yeah, maybe he's just shy about his one big foot and that's why we don't see him. Poor Bigfoot's been teased. And look, I know I didn't do the monster in this hole. I just did his like campsite. But hold on. See what I did there? I'm about to do his cousin. And who is Bigfoot's cousin? Say it with me. The Yeti, unless you said abominable snowman, which aren't they the same thing? Hold on, is Bigfoot and the Yeti the same thing? Like, is Bigfoot the grizzly bear version of a Yeti and the abominable snowman is the polar bear version of the Yeti? Or are they Sasquatches? I don't know. It doesn't matter. What matters is these little cute trees that I'm making. Look, they're covered in snow. They're Arctic Circle trees. Wait, there's no trees in the Arctic Circle, is there? I'm pretty sure the ground is like frozen all the time, so nothing can grow there. At least nothing with roots. I don't know. Doesn't matter. We're gonna look past it. Look, I have a monkey. Or I mean, gorilla. It's a gorilla. Because he looks a lot like a Yeti. Only I have to make my gorilla look like he's standing up instead of down on all fours, because otherwise he'd just look like a gorilla. And I've never heard of the abominable gorilla monster. So yeah, we had to do some surgery and cut him in half and then glue his arms down. And now I'm just painting on his furry winter coat, you know, so that he can blend into his surroundings. And even though you can't see the backside of this Yeti, I had to paint his butt blue. I'm not proud, but it kind of made me giggle. Okay, anyways, I add him to the hole. What do you guys think? And if you were counting, this was hole number 10. So we still have a whole lot of holes to fill here. And what is going to be the monster in hole number 11? Well, it lives in a graveyard. So I think that narrows it down pretty well. There's not many monsters that live in a graveyard. Okay, that's not true. I would say like most of the monsters live in graveyards, but it doesn't matter. The monster I'm doing mostly always lives in the graveyard, and it's the first one that you'd think of, and it's not a ghost because I've already done a ghost. It's a zombie. See? I'm adding little zombie hands that are reaching out of the graves and a zombie foot. I don't know who's coming out foot first as a zombie, but I guess that zombie likes a challenge. And I didn't feel like cutting up another one of my miniature people to make more arms. You know what? Nobody's going to be thinking about it that deeply. If you see body parts coming out of graves, you're just going to automatically think zombie. Okay, fine. The foot is weird. So I am going to cut up this little girl. Nope, that's not what I meant. This tiny lady. But first I have to make her look like a zombie. I guess the technical term would be zombify her. And since I don't know any people that are buried in just their underwear. Side note, do not bury me in a bra. I don't need to spend the rest of eternity in that torture device of a boob contraption. I will haunt the person that buries me in a bra. I'll have no mercy on them. Oh shoot, we're on to the next hole. I guess I went on too much of a bra rant. Sorry about that. We're doing another 2-for-1 hole. You know, where I cut the holes to make it bigger. This time, instead of making it wider, I'm going taller because our next monster is gonna be tall. And no, it's not Slender Man. I know that's what everybody was thinking, but what goes good with zombies? Besides brains and werewolves. It's not a werewolf. Well, this monster can't even go in a graveyard without dying. Is that what you would call it when it dies? Because it's kind of already dead. It's a vampire. Oh, I'm done walking around the subject. Vampire inside of a coffin, which would be in a graveyard. So why do they sleep in coffins? That's a thinker. You would think that they'd want to sleep in caves, or at the very least upside down, right? Because they're part bat. Okay, but while we're on the subject of vampires, have you seen What We Do in the Shadows? Of course you have. It's a great show. You know the intro when they're showing the pictures? Don't vampires not show up in photos? So why are they in photos in the intro? I've always wondered that, and if somebody can answer that question, please do. Anyways, oh, by the way, did you see my circle window? You knew I would sneak in a circle window somewhere. Even vampires get more circle windows than I do. And they can't even be by windows because they all use Macs. No, I'm kidding. It's because of the sunlight, obviously. Also, I'm pretty sure they use Macs. Anyway, look at that. We got another hole done. We've got 10 more. Holy cow. We have got 10 more holes to go. That's a lot of holes to still fill. And here you thought I would give up. I'm not giving up, even though you might want me to. Okay, so we're going to do the green hole. And what sort of green monster machine are we doing? No, absolutely no one asked for this monster. But have you seen the movie Leprechaun? Yeah, me neither. But did you know that they made 6 of those terrible movies? I mean, look, I'm just guessing that they're terrible. I don't know. They're probably better than the video you're watching right now. But I've seen clips from this movie, and it's either terrifying or really dumb. I can't decide. But either way, it has convinced me that leprechauns are indeed a monster. Or I mean cryptics. You guys have been commenting that they're actually cryptics. And look, I looked up the word cryptic because, you know, my vocabulary is not huge. And you all are so smart. These are definitely cryptics and not monsters. But look, Ashley's monster holes sounds better than Ashley's cryptic holes. Okay, actually, that's not bad. Okay. From now on, I'll refer to my holes as cryptic and not monster. So I guess, welcome to Ashley's cryptic holes. We're currently doing a leprechaun hole. So I've added this nice pot of gold to represent a leprechaun. Because what else is gonna represent a leprechaun? Shoes? Okay, maybe. But no, I did gold. Anyways, on to the next hole. See, I'm gonna do this turquoise hole right over here. Now, I was thinking I was gonna do mermaids in this hole, but I thought it would get too blendy, you know, like the mermaids would blend into the background or something. I don't know. Perhaps I thought it was too on the nose. Anyways, I still wanted to do something more fantasy-like because a lot of these monsters are a little harsh, or should I say gritty? I don't know. So I painted in these pretty clouds, and I'm adding these fancy bushes. Next, I'm gonna cut these limbs from this fantasy tree and add them into my fantasy hole. Right, so have you guessed what's going inside my fantastic fantasy hole? Okay, so instead of mermaids, I've decided to do a horse. What do you mean a horse isn't cryptic? Have you ever met a horse? Those guys are the most shifty, cryptic animals you'll meet. Just one look into those eyes and you can tell they're hiding secrets. What are you hiding from me, horse? Fine, I'll add a stinking horn to his head. That's right, we're doing a frickin' unicorn. I don't know why I'm upset about it because, fun fact, I used to collect unicorns when I was a kid. True story. I had dozens of them, perhaps hundreds. I don't know. Who's counting? Obviously, I don't have them anymore. That would be weird. Okay, I kept a couple, but most of them my mom volunteered to Goodwill. Probably just so that other kids would not make fun of me. I don't know. Anyways, our unicorn's done and he's terrifying. And not because he's a monster. It's because I didn't do him very well. but we're gonna move on and ignore him. Anyways, so now I'm working on this bronze hole, or maybe it's copper. You know, you would think that I would know the difference by now, but I don't. And I know you guys have explained it to me, but I still don't get it. Anyways, it doesn't matter because what matters is what we're putting in the hole. This teeny tiny swimmer, isn't she cute? Wait, what do swimmers have to do with cryptids / monsters? Good question. Nothing. Because these swimmers are going to be swimming in the air because they're teeny tiny Tarzans? Nope. Guess again. They're gonna be freaking fairies. Or I guess you could call them pixies. In fact, I'm gonna call them pixies because pixies are definitely more monstrous than fairies. Not that we're doing monsters, we're doing cryptics. Anyways, I cut their little wings out in plastic and then I painted them gold and now I'm just attaching them to their little itty bitty backs. I mean, look how freaking adorable they are. It's a perfect pair of pixies. Now let me just attach them to my hole. And there it is. We got another hole down. But wait, we're not finished. We're going to go on to the next hole. I think any minute we're going to go on to the next hole. We're just waiting. Oh, there we go. That's right. I'm going to do the red hole. Now, originally, I was thinking this hole would be a good hole for Bloody Mary. But then somebody in my comment section said gelatinous cube. And I was like, heck yeah, gelatinous cube. That's way better than Bloody Mary. I mean, what would I have done for Bloody Mary? A mirror? That would have been boring. Or at least definitely not as exciting as gelatinous cube. Because even saying the word gelatinous cube is way more exciting than saying Bloody Mary. So I made a little cube mold and I filled my cube mold with resin. And then I filled my resin with a skull, as one does. Now look, I know the skull is a little too big for the gelatinous cube here, but you know what? Maybe it's a baby gelatinous cube. For some reason it attached to someone's head. I don't know. Maybe the daddy gelatinous cube just fed the baby gelatinous cube someone's head. You know what? Maybe we shouldn't think too hard about it. Stop it. Stop thinking too hard about it. It is what it is. Anyways, so my gelatinous cube was a little too sharp. And nobody's heard of a sharp gelatinous cube. So I sanded down its sharp corners. And then I covered it in another coat of resin. That way it'd look all shiny and more gelatinousy. Yep, that's a word. Now I just have to place her inside of her little cryptic hole. And as you watch me paint on these little gelatinous drops, I thought this would be a good time to remind you that I have a book. And you should go check it out if you want to make creepy crafts. Okay, now that I've made my publisher happy. Look at that, we're done. And did I mention it glows in the dark? What? Wow, that's so cool. Is what you should be saying. And I kind of like this hole, but we can't dwell on it too long because now we're going to do the purple hole. And you're never going to guess what we're going to do in this hole. That's right, we're doing mermaids and mermen. Now, for some reason, my camera did not work when I put the mermaid tail on this little miniature woman. Or is she a maid? Wait, why are mermaids called mermaids? Does maid mean female? I mean, I guess it makes sense because mermen are men, right? And in the game Old Maid, there's an old woman, which what a terrible game. You're trying not to get the old woman? I mean, that's kind of rude. Who came up with that game? I mean, let's be honest. It was probably a man. I don't know. Anyways, my camera did not record for whatever reason when I attached clay to their legs. So, you know, just pretend like you saw me do that part. And it was amazing, probably. Anyways, so I was going to paint a little castle behind them, but then I thought, that's boring. We got to do something more 3D. So I'm making this little castle wall. Oh my gosh, I'm just realizing I called them mermaids, but really they're sirens, not mermaids. Mermaids aren't monsters, or should I say cryptids, which I'm just now realizing that I've been saying wrong this whole time. But I could argue that they are also cryptics, right? Because cryptic means mysterious. So they're cryptic cryptids. Anyways, let's move on to the next hole, which is my most requested hole. Okay, no, I take that back. My most requested hole is a Wendigo, and I have no idea how to even attempt a Wendigo. That's a little above my skill level. So I know you had your hopes up, but I'm not doing a Wendigo. It's not happening. I'm not doing it. Stop asking. I see you. You're typing in the comments right now. Stop it. Put the comment section down. Okay, so if not Wendigo, then what? Well, it's green and it has teeth. That's right, it's Audrey 2. I guess if you want to be formal about it, you could call her Audrey number 2. Or is she just simply Audrey the second? And for those who don't know, it's the plant from Little Shop of Horrors. And if you haven't seen Little Shop of Horrors, you should. Either one, the old one or the newer one, they're both good. The music is amazing. Well, I don't know if I'd call it amazing. It's music and you can definitely sing to it. Okay, look, if the singability of a song was the criteria for amazing music, then Happy Birthday would be an amazing song. And it's not. It's really not. I don't know how we haven't come up with a better song by now. And nobody wants this song sung to them on their birthday. So yeah, happy one more revolution around the sun. Here's a terrible song that you don't want and you have to sit through it because you're not rude. And do you think the people who are singing it want to be singing it? No. But for some reason, that's what we do, and everybody's miserable. Oh, thanks. 10 seconds of my life that I'm never going to get back. Let's just say I have feelings about the Happy Birthday song. And now you know them. Anyways, let's get back to Audrey too. So I added some luscious lips to her. Not gonna lie, I'm sort of jealous of Audrey 2's lips. I have no lips. And I know you're saying, Ashley, you have lips. Do these look like lips? No, those are wisps. So yeah, I would kill for Audrey's lips. Anyways, there's Audrey 2. Next up, we're going to do this bottom hole right here, this pink one. Or is that more of a mauve? Or is it called mauve? I don't know. I guess, what are we doing in this mauve hole? Sandworms. Now, there's all kinds of different sandworms. There's Dune, the sandworm in Dune. Then there's the one that I always think of from Tremors, which, does that movie hold up? It's been so long since I've seen it. I used to love that movie. Anyways, and then there's the sandworm from Beetlejuice. I think that counts, right? And then there's real life sandworms. That's right, there's real sandworms in real life, which are just as, if not more, terrifying than the fictional ones. I mean, just look at this guy. Ugh. But we're not here to talk about that one, because that's not a cryptic cryptid. That's real life. And my holes are about not real life things. Okay, except the gnome. And maybe aliens. And ghosts. Okay, some of them could be real life. But it doesn't matter because now we're moving on. And we're going to do this orange hole. And I saw somebody comment that they wanted a phoenix. And I thought that was a really unique idea and I liked it. Also, what else am I going to put in an orange hole? I mean, maybe a certain president. But unfortunately, he's real life. And remember, we're only doing cryptids. Okay, can we go back to calling them monsters? Because I hate saying cryptids. Yep, I'm going to call them monsters. So I'm making this phoenix monster. Oh, wait. Phoenixes aren't really monsters. They're just like firebirds. Dang it, I don't know. You know what? We only have 2 more holes after this, so I don't think it matters at this point what I call them. So I'm just gonna get on with talking about what I'm doing. And what I'm doing right now is making the tail of the phoenix out of shrinky paper. No, shrinky dinks, not shrinky paper. And since I'm lazy and I don't want to bring it to the oven, I just shrink it with my heat gun. Or what I meant to say is I shrink it with magic. Did you see that magic? Hold on, here comes more magic. Shabam! It's a magical fire tail. I mean, what other tail would you expect on a phoenix? Like a normal tail? No, phoenixes have magical fire tails. I don't know what I'm dribbling on about. I can't wait till my holes are finished so that I can go on to another project. Do you remember I used to do other projects? Yeah, I don't. I feel like this is the only project I've been doing for the last month and a half. Anywho, oh, look at that. We're done with our phoenix. The next hole that we're going to do is the one right down here, which is our second to last hole. Not that we're counting. To be honest, I'm surprised I didn't give up on this project yet. My attention span is about as short as a goldfish. So the fact that I'm actually completing this is a pretty big deal for me. Anyways, what are we doing on our last 2 holes? Like, I guess we're just jumping right in with this one. It looks very Egyptian-y. So there's really only one thing that could go in this hole. Well, I mean, I guess there could be a sphinx in there. Or actually, now that I think about it, there's a lot of Egyptian monsters. Or not monsters, they're gods. I hope that didn't offend anyone. Anyways, what? I'm doing a mummy, obviously. So I'm making the little mummy sarcophagus. Sarcophagi? Tomb? No, wait, tomb would be like the whole room, right? And the sarcophagus would be like the coffin. Or is a tomb called a crypt? Oh my gosh, that would have been a good monster, the crypt keeper. But spoiler, I didn't do him. Nope, instead I'm wrapping this little person in string to make it look like he's a little mummy. Get off my finger. I'm not sure how, but I always glue things to my fingers. Well, okay, I know how I do it, but that's not the point. Look at that, we're adding our mummy. But I felt like this tomb was still missing something, so I thought I'd roll up a rug. I don't know. I feel like rugs are in tombs, right? And then I added a little papyrus to the wall. Edgar. I think Edgar's a little upset that we didn't do a sphinx, but he'll get over it. Anyways, there's our little mummy tomb. Next, we're gonna do this last red hole up here. And my first idea was I was gonna do Medusa, only you'll see in a minute here. I sculpted her face terribly. This was my attempt to make her beautiful. It did not work. So instead, I'm just gonna make her into a clown because clowns are terrifying. And I think they deserve a spot in my box. I know he kind of looks like the Saw doll. Is it a doll? You know, from the movie Saw? Or is he a clown? He might be a clown doll. Anyways, when I get the rest of him, he'll look more like a clown, I promise. So I made him a little wire body, and then I covered that wire body in clay. And then I'm making his little itty bitty hands. Are you all scared of clowns? My husband is. And I always joke with him that I'm holding hands with the clown underneath the bed, you know, when we go to sleep, because I always drape my arms or leg over the side of the bed. And he's like, oh my gosh, the clown underneath the bed's going to get you. And I always say that we're friends. We hold hands. You know, it's the little things in a marriage that keep it alive. You know what? I like to torture my husband just a little bit. You know, he kind of deserves it. He loves to come up and scare me. And also, he won't let me get a circle window. Oh shoot, look at that. We're done. So I got a clown, a phoenix, Bigfoot, leprechaun, a siren, a kraken, Loch Ness monster, unicorn, pixies, Audrey 2, gelatinous cube, a yeti, a ghost, mothman, aliens, a mimic, a jackalope, gnomes, a vampire, a mummy, zombies, and a sandworm. And that's the whole project. What do you guys think? Did I miss any?